This is how my first high ticket sale as a full-time business owner changed everything for me. In 2020, I went full-time without my own business. I'd left my position as a quantity surveyor and I'd started up full-time. And in those first few months of 2020, this is pre-global pandemic at this point, I actually ended up coming on quite tough times. I quit my job with no savings, and I had my last paycheck to run off, which was £2,500 ish that I took home from work after tax. That was my last paycheck that I ever got. And that's what I was starting 2020 with as a full time business owner. And what I've struggled with in that situation is those first early couple of months, I was really finding it difficult to get some coaching clients for myself, to pick up some high ticket sales, which I needed to keep going in business. And it actually got to a point where I drained all my money, the last paycheck that I had, and I got myself into a position that I was really struggling to get paid bills. I was struggling to pay off some debts that I had. And at one point, I couldn't even do my own food shopping. And it was embarrassing because when I looked out the window at my kitchen, I could see Tesco's, which was 2 minutes away for a walk. And I couldn't even go there to do my food shopping. And I felt like a bit of a failure in that situation. I felt very dejected. I felt very down. I felt pretty useless like that. And I thought, I've got to do something to generate some income. And I ended up, I had to swallow my pride a bit and I started to look for a job again in order to get some money in. And I'm searching online and I thought, you know what, I'll look at Tesco's. I'll pick up some night shifts or something to get some extra money in. And as I'm searching through all the job positions, everything that was available in the local area, something happened in me and something shifted where I suddenly got so pissed off. I got so frustrated, but in a good way, with a good fire in my belly and a fire in my heart as well, that I wanted to change this situation I was in. I thought to myself, I'm not going back to a job having only been away from my job for 2 months. There is no way that I'm quitting this business idea now and going back to work. And I just started to get desperate. I started to write down everything that I could think of in a way to make money. Who did I know? Who was in my network? What could I put out there to start generating some sales? And one thing that came into my mind was I remembered that in the previous year, when I had this business on the side of my job, I created a small Facebook community. It was only about 100 people that I'd got in there. I'd kind of given up on the idea because I wasn't getting anything from it. Nobody was really interacting. I didn't really know what to do with it. And I let it die out a little bit and I wasn't adding much to it anymore. But I thought, how can I use this group? And what I ended up doing is I messaged all 100 people in that Facebook group. And I just reached out to them. I was just asking, hey, I've noticed you've been in the group a little while. Is there anything that I can specifically help you with? Is there anything that I can specifically support you with right now at this time? And nobody answered me. Nobody responded. Well, some people said, no, thank you, don't need your help. Fine. And there was one person, there was one lady from that group who messaged me back and said, Tom, it feels like now is the perfect time. And I can't believe you messaged me because I'm looking for some help right now in my life. I thought, wow, okay, let's jump on a call. And so what I ended up doing, I got onto a call with her and I closed her into a £2,000 coaching package at the time where I'd support her towards her goals. I'd be holding her accountable. And that was a huge breakthrough for me. And that £2,000, that gave me a lifeline to stay in business for another couple of months. It gave me the chance to keep my head above water. And I was so proud of making that sale because I was so close to going back to a job. I was so close to giving up on my dreams. I said, screw this. I'm not going to have it this way. And sometimes in your own life, you're going to get into a situation where your back's against the wall and you've got to make a decision. Are you going to do something about it? Or are you going to give in? Are you going to quit? Are you going to go back to where you were? And for me in my own life, I've always performed when my back's against the wall, when the odds are against me, when I feel like an underdog. And in those situations where you are an underdog and you're desperate and any idea is a good idea, you will do anything to get out of that situation. And that's what's happened for that. That's what happened for me right there in that moment. This bright idea came into my mind. And you don't know when an idea is going to come up, but I will say to you, you have to keep an open mind in business. The mindset that gets you to where you are today isn't the mindset that's going to get you to where you want to be. In that situation, like as that idea came up, message the group, speak to the people in that group. I could have ignored that. I could have gone, no, that kind of group's dead now. Like nobody's really interacting in it. They're not going to do anything. And I could have said that, and I wouldn't have made that sale. But when you're open to ideas, when you're open to possibilities, and you think, how could this work for me? How could I use this in my life? How could I use this in my business? That's where you can get a step ahead. That's where the next door opens up for you. So if you find yourself in a situation where your back's against the wall, you don't know what to do, you're lost, you're feeling confused, and you feel like nothing is working for you, they are the times to actually listen and think, whatever idea comes in, try it. What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose by giving that idea a go? And that's how it changed everything for me, because it gave me the confidence boost I needed, because I then had the self-belief in myself that actually I can make sales, I can make this business work, and I can succeed. And we know what happened. 2020, global pandemic kicked in. I went on that year to replace my corporate salary, so my business income matched what I was making in my job. And that was a huge achievement for me in a time where it was one of the biggest global crisis in the world that people had experienced. And they'd never experienced anything like that. And so my message to you is you can create that same level of success, but stay open-minded to new ideas, new ways of working. And if your back's against the wall, do you know what? That's okay. I just say to you, make the decision to figure it out and to find the way forward. Because the only way that you fail is if you quit and you give up on your dreams. And you go back to that job, or you stay in that job and say, do you know what? I'm never going to do that ever again. And you, for the rest of your life, you will feel that regret. You will feel that guilt for not going after your dreams. So I hope that helps. That's my message to you. Stay open-minded, new ideas. And comment below what it is that you've learned.